Going, man. Yeah, it says you're live, so let's rock and roll.
Yeah, let's do it. We got a lot to cover. Okay.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everybody, or in Dan's case, good morning. Good very early morning. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and put the presentation up there. Okay, this is our introduction to the script editor, unlocking the potential of add-ons. My name is Jordan Ray. The objective here is we're really trying to show how simple it is to create add-ons for Google Apps for Education. And me and Dan, some of the things that we have created, worked on both individually and together. The idea isn't to teach a whole lot of coding, but to really show how accessible the script editor is to create these kind of proofs of concepts or rough drafts of what we're talking about here. So anyways, my name is Jordan Ray, and I'm a 5th grade teacher, language arts teacher in Izmir, Turkey. And I've been learning the program for the past 2 years, mostly as a way to kind of create things for my classroom. And I'll let Dan kind of introduce himself here.
Yeah, sounds good. And I'm Dan. I'm an assistant principal at McGlone Academy. It's a school in Denver, Colorado. And I've been in education about 10 years, and just, over the past, I would say 4 years, I've really gotten into using Google Apps for Education, or G Suite for Education now, and really have been into this whole idea of using the script editor to really enhance the tools of just the different programs, specifically Google Sheets. It's just been really awesome, and Jordan and I have been doing this together, and it's incredibly actually fairly easy process, and so there's definitely obviously tons of possibilities just with the core G Suite apps, but then when you start using the script editor, things get really fun. So
yeah, absolutely. And so what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about just quickly what all goes into the script editor. I'm going to run through some examples of custom functions for Sheets, how to create a sidebar in Google Docs, opening a modal window in Forms, and then some examples of more full-fledged web apps. And then hopefully we have time for a lot of questions and answers at the end. So really all that goes into this are 3 technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is the structure of a page. It's the skeleton. CSS are cascading style sheets, and they give style to that skeleton. And JavaScript is what makes everything kind of run in a cool way. It makes the page come alive. Especially in this modern era of web development, we kind of expect web pages to have cool sliding effects and fades in and out, and kind of all the things that we've come to expect from these Google apps. The languages themselves, very different looking languages, and we'll see a lot of that today, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time really on what that is. And now, everything from this point on, that's really the end of this slideshow. Everything else is going to kind of be, showing as we go. In the video link, I shared a document, and that has links to all of the things that I'm going to do here. I already have them open on my browser, but you can copy these sheets and you can get the code right from there. I've also put a lot of stuff up on my blog, really with the goal being that all of this code be accessible as possible. Yeah, as accessible as possible. So the very first one, just custom functions and sheets. I think a lot of people are familiar with the functions that are built into Google Sheets. You can type the equal sign, and you can do things like average, parentheses. You can get a whole row of things here, and it'll average all of those together. I already have an example up there, but let's say that there's more in-depth things that we want. We can go into the script editor and create those functions for ourselves. So the script editor is found under the Tools menu. You go right down to Script Editor. And if you've copied my demo grade sheet, there's already some code in there. And I got a lot of these. I'm not a math teacher, but I found a blog for a math teacher, which is also linked on my my website. And his blog talked about functions for creating grade curves. And really the structure of this, I'm going to make this larger so that we can see. Is that all right?
Yeah, it looks great, man. Okay,
cool. Everything between these two brackets is just comments, and that gives you the help that you're used to seeing when you type. And then this function declaration with a name. You've got some parameters here, a little bit of code, and then the return is what's going to show up on your sheet. So let's just kind of show what that is. You can type equals and then regraded curve, and already I have the kind of the little bit of help that I wrote in there, and it's accessible to us. And the way you would use it would be if you had a project didn't go so well and you wanted to give people an opportunity to redo the project, and so everybody redoes it and they get a 100 on it. But I'm not going to give them a 100. I want to kind of give them a percentage of 100. And in here for parameters, I can give the original being the J2 cell, the new grade, and then maybe I want to give 80%. 80% of that. And it calculates that for me. And all it's doing is it's sending those variables into this function, and then it's returning, the modified value.
So Jordan, do you want to talk? You just want to talk a little bit about how, because you can, you typed in regraded curve as the formula, but you had to call that out as a function in the code, right? So you call out your function regraded curve, and that's what when you type the equals formula, that can be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. It can be any name that you give it. And I thought I would just type out an example here. That's why I created this email.gs. And I just named it get email, but it could be anything get school email. And you don't have to have the comments. None of that is necessary. But let's say that I have a first name and last name, and I automatically want to spit out a certain email for that. If you use first initial last name, get school email, and I'll put in John. And it's not doing anything right now because I haven't done anything with it. So in here, let's say that I just, I'm going to do the email equals that first plus last. Sorry, first plus last, and then it'll automatically just give me that. But if I want to add on, maybe I'm using the first plus last name plus at school.k12.edu. And now I've got an email automatically in there.
And maybe you just
it's really,
short.
yeah.
If you want to go back to the script editor, I think it's I think this is such a great formula you've written, right? So just the function get school email, which we just mentioned, can be anything you want, and then it's just going to take in two parameters, right? First and last, and whatever you click on the sheet is what it's going to assume are your two parameters. But then this variable is created, right? This variable email, and again, that can be called anything. It could be variable school email, but you've created a variable, and then what you're saying is combine these two parameters, the first parameter and the second parameter, and then this kind of hard-coded one, which is the at school K-12, and then return all that together, right? Return that variable or print out that variable email, which is above. And this is really, I think, a great way to, I think everyone's struggled with the like, well, how do I do the combined, first name, last name, email, generic? And so this is a really cool formula.
Sure. And you could even, if it's the first, if it's just the first letter of the first name, you can just change it to, you can give it just brackets and it becomes an array, and then all of a sudden I've got JDoe. So there's all kinds of manipulation that you can do with this data. But that's kind of out of the scope of it. I want to show you some more things about the script editor, kind of what we can do with it. Just writing a function, and let's just call the function display. It's not going to take any parameters because all I want it to do is just show some simple little. So now if I run this display inside the script editor, I have options to choose which function I'm doing here, and then this play button is going to run that function. To open up the logger, I use Control-Enter. And we see the text there, demo for Edu on Air. You can also get to that logger under the view and then seeing the logs. And there's all kinds of things that you can manipulate with this. And some of the examples that I'll get to in a few minutes are going to really show that a little bit more. But not being afraid to get in there and play around with functions, and you can run them right from inside the script editor.
And this is a great way to get started on the program, just because these are very simple. They're just formulas, and as you pointed out, like you can just do very basic kind of calculations and variables. And so this is for anyone who may not even have any coding experience. This is just a really easy way to get started and write your own formulas if that formula doesn't already exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And what all logger.log is just a kind of built-in method for Google Scripts that just really shows you this window. And you'll get very used to it as you start learning code, or if you're already coding, running that logger to test things or to kind of figure out what you're doing with the data as you're playing around with it, the variables as you're playing around with them. So in its simplest form, this is the script editor. I think I'm gonna go on to the next example. Sound good, Dan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So then in that document, I'm gonna close that one. In the document, I go down to opening a sidebar in Google Docs, and you can copy the doc right there in the link. But I already have it open, and all this is going to do is open up a little window here after giving some permissions, and it's going to open up this little sidebar window where we can manipulate the document in front of us. So let's show the code for that. And in Documents, you get to the script editor, same way, Tools, down to the script editor. And here I've got a little bit more code written out to look at. And there's also on the side, because now I have an HTML file, that is going to be our display, right? And we've got a bunch of HTML code in here that really just gets iframed into the document. But what it's going to do is showing you the so in a header, same vocabulary. Then I've got a text area to take 10-row text area to take in some vocabulary words, and then a couple of buttons here at the bottom. And they're tied into on-click events that are down here in my script brackets themselves. And so we've got the JavaScript right below. And it's kind of the same thing that I was just talking about with functions, except this is more clear JavaScript, pure JavaScript, I should say. And you've got the submit function, which is right here. You've got a close sidebar function, which is right here. And then I have a little error checking thing for as I was testing. The vocabulary submit, what it does is it's getting the value of this text area, and then it's going to send it into my build doc function. It's going to send that vocabulary variable into the build doc function that's over here in code.js. And that code is right down here, and it ties into a bunch of these built-in methods for Google Docs. This document app service built right in there. And let me just kind of demo what it does. When you run this, you can type in some vocabulary words. Second, third, you just type each word on a different line, and you click submit, and it's going to print out a simple little vocabulary sheet right here. So there's a simple demo of something that you can do with this. An idea that came to mind as I was just trying to build this little demonstration would be tying into some outside sources like a dictionary, which would then automatically pull definitions for each word, and then you could automatically have that printed in there. And so if you have a unit with some vocabulary words that you want to share to kids, automatically have it filled out, or you could create this as kind of a graphic organizer to have them complete themselves. Dan, do you think I did did I go into the code enough? Should I do more, or do you want to just go right into another example? We only have 12 minutes left, so.
I know. It goes by so fast.
Yeah, I think another example. I think keep going with the examples, and then.
Yeah, man.
Sound good?
I think let's jump into the little
if
window.
People have questions about the code, we can really talk about that later. So
let's do the modal window, because that's similar to the sidebar code, and we can maybe break it down a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have this. So the next one down, if you look at the document, opening up a modal window for Google Forms. Oh, and one thing I want to note here too is opening up a sidebar or a modal window. Those can be done in any, like you can open up a sidebar in Google Forms, or you can open up a modal window in Google Docs, or even in Google Sheets. These things can be done in the various services. But this modal window, what it's going to do, and let me go ahead and test this as an add-on. This one works a little bit differently because with Google Forms, when you open well, let me just explain it first. When you open Google Forms, I couldn't find a way to force copy Google Forms. So this is a good way to kind of see how to test it as an add-on. I already have this code written, but if you go to publish and then test as add-on, and you have a already have a Google form created. Let me click on test, and it's going to open up this form, and it's just a blank form. You get to the scripts that are installed on the form up at this little jigsaw puzzle in the upper right. Click on that, and I'm going to click on Modal for Forms Demo. Copy text into form. And what this should do, here you can see a text area. The modal window is the this window that opens up here. And we've got, you know, let's say I want to have a short answer. I can just write a short answer for the form. And then I skip a line. And let's say I also want to have a multiple choice for the form. But I want some answer choices. Now I can go ahead and type those things in. And then once I click Create Form, it should create those. It should be here. Oh, it didn't create. It created my multiple choice, but it didn't put my text in there. Let me just try that again. And here's our first bug testing. Okay, so that time it created, I'm not sure what that is. My code is a little bit buggy, but these are just kind of demonstrations for how to get started kind of building something. So let's look at the code of what that does. There's a built-in trigger with for all of these on open. And what that does is it adds the tool right into that little jigsaw puzzle here. So that adds our code up here so that we can run it from the screen. And all it's doing is it's saying when you click on it, we're going to run the import text function. And import text is right here. And this is where we're creating the HTML file from a text box, which then you can see over here to the side, textbox.html. And it's opening that as a modal dialog for you. And we'll take a look at the HTML because it's just very simple, very basic HTML. I'm linking to the suggested CSS file that Google gives you, and that gives them just a little bit of styling that you can see here. The red button and the kind of nice little window that highlights blue when you select it, red button. And then we've got our text area and button in the HTML, and then a little script tag with some JavaScript inside. All it does is submit data, which ties into this event listener, this click event listener into the submit data. So that right there is how you open up a modal window. And I think there's a lot of things that you can do building on top of that idea. It doesn't have to be you know, creating a form. There's tons of stuff that you can do with forms. And one other thing before I close out this example, in the script editor itself, if you go to help, down here it links right to great reference sources for getting started with this. The API reference is a little bit more technical, but you can go to guides, and there's some really good documentation for getting started with this.
And I'll just point out that when we do a lot of our coding, we'll cut and paste a lot of the code out of that resource just right into our script editors, and that's really helpful. It saves you a lot of time. You don't have to reinvent code from scratch every time. You can just you know, use others' work.
Exactly, and it's you know, it's a great way to get started to learning code too. You know, you might not understand every line of JavaScript. But as you get more familiar with it, you start to learn what those functions and methods do. And then I wanted to show one last thing here with Google Sites. I got really excited this summer about the Breakout EDU and the digital breakouts that are available. So I, created one for a teacher retreat that we did. And along the way, I realized, with iPads, some of the things are a little bit difficult. So I'm going to go to my sites. The unfortunate thing is, this is my commercial account, so it's not my Gaith account. So I don't have access to the new Google. Oh, I do have access to the new Google Sites on here.
Yeah, everybody's got it.
Everybody has it now. Well, the problem with new Google Sites is we can't deploy.
Nope.
We can't deploy app scripts into it yet, but I'm pretty sure that functionality will come. And I created a couple of things here. One being this little, crypto key value. You can choose the number of shifts you want to make to something. And when I type in Google, I get a little encoded Google. It's just, moving every letter in the word Google up one. And then another thing I realized on the iPads, it's a lot harder you don't have a mouse to highlight text. So you can't turn text white and then highlight it. But I thought with AppScript, there's some workarounds there where I can create this clickable button. And the code for that, I think I'm going to run out of time here. But the code for that in this, where's my original document, is linked right in here. So the hidden elements code, you can open up. Everyone, I think I shared it so everyone has view privileges on these. So you can copy stuff right out of here, and you can see my JavaScript. Very simple code. This is 4 lines in the code.js and then 14 lines in the HTML file. And then these are just published as, when you go to publish, I already showed you test as add-ons, but you can deploy these as web apps. And that you have some permission choices here. Execute the app as me or the user accessing the web app. Here it doesn't really matter, this is a demo. And then who has access to it. And you deploy this, it gives you a URL that you can then embed right into Google Sites. Or you can just open it into the browser itself. And here you see that little asterisk that I have with the hidden text. So I also attached in this document a number of other examples, and then there's even more on my website, and Daniel Sharp's doing some stuff on his website. You can tweet either of us, finding out more things that we're doing with apps and AppScript. So I think, yeah, let's I guess we can go over time and maybe see what some questions are. Has there been any questioning at all?
I don't know, buddy. That's you.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I couldn't get to the Q&A.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, so there were some viewers here. I see the little chat window.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe one thing just to kind of wrap up with is, like, maybe if you're kind of newer and you want to know more about this kind of stuff, I think that a couple good resources, Free Code Camp is a really good one. That's one that Jordan shared. Absolutely. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that one's that's a great
JavaScript.
And that's a great way to get started. So.
And another great resource is GitHub itself, which is almost it's a social sharing platform for programmers. And you can go to GitHub and create an account very easily. I try to, everything that I've created, I've tried to put out there in some form on GitHub. Sometimes I forget to copy and paste it. You know, one of the features that I really wish that AppScript editor had would be to, you know, automatically share your code in here right to GitHub. I'm not sure why that functionality doesn't exist. I even tried to create a little browser extension that would automatically, you know, do things like that for me.
Right.
And browser extensions also, we didn't even mention browser extensions, but those are created with the exact same technologies: JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And really, you can get out there onto Google, and they have some developer pages that provide lots of resources for how to do that. So that being said, I guess we'll hang out, and if there's any questions for the last 15 minutes, I got hi from the U.S., hi from Malaysia,
Wow.
hi
Nice.
from Portugal, hi from New Zealand, hello from the Arctic Circle. Well, hello to all those places.
That's amazing.
So this is quite the worldwide event here, because it's 2:30, well, it's 3 o'clock now for me in Izmir, Turkey, and it's 5 a.m. for Dan in Denver, Colorado.
Nice and dark.
And then we're all over the rest of the world here, which I think that's a super cool thing about being able to do an event like this.
Yeah, definitely.
So that being said, follow us both on Twitter. Send us questions if we can help you. To point you in the right directions for Google AppScript and using the AppScript editor to kind of create your own things. Actually, I will plug. Can I plug my little my innovation project, which is plnnr.net, and the idea being to create a place where you can put your ideas for Google Apps for Education add-ons or extensions, Chrome browser extensions that you might not be able to create yourself, would want to connect with a developer who might be able to kind of point you to the right resources or help you with the coding side of creating those, doing those kind of projects. Why don't you wrap up give some final words there, Dan?
Yeah, I just think that this is I think the great thing about coding is it's really crowdsourced. It's really community driven. It's not individuals. It's constantly innovation, and innovation we know is just taking what someone's already done and making adjustments and making it better. And so the community, I think Jordan mentioned GitHub, and then of course you can reach out to ourselves. We're trying to grow this education group, because I think there's a lot of things we need that's education specific that just doesn't necessarily exist. And so Google Script Editor is this incredible free resource where educators can just come in and start saying, we need this, and then go out and create it. And so don't feel like this is too technical for me, this is too complicated for me, or I never learned this. And then if you have kids who are interested in this, get them into Script Editor and let them start playing around, because our students are the ones who are going to need to have these kinds of jobs when they get older. And so definitely encourage them and model it. And yeah, it's an incredible resource, and definitely something we need in education.
Absolutely, yeah. And even creating those innovative projects for education is one thing, but maybe there's just things that in your specific classroom or in your specific school you would like to build, those kinds of projects can be, those kinds of projects are super accessible to everybody with the script editor.
Yep, agreed.
You know, just repeating simple tasks. You know, those are the kinds of things that we don't want to do, that just are a waste of our time. So we can find ways to solve those problems with the script editor. All right, so
check out some of our projects if you don't know where to get started, and we're always happy to share. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We didn't get to really see any of the web apps that I put on there.
30 minutes.
But I linked all of that stuff on there, and you know, hopefully people get out there and see some of that stuff. So, all right, that's cool. I think so. It said 67 viewers at one point, and now the number is kind of dropping. So I think it might have automatically stopped us at 3. I'm not.
Well, I'm sure people can stay as long as they want, but
okay. Do I click on stop broadcast, or should I keep broadcasting? You're more experienced with these.
Unless you have any questions, you might stop if you don't have any questions.
Because I still want to stick around and take questions, but if I click stop broadcast, will that close everything out?
Yeah, I think you're the only one still live, but yeah, if you close it out, then it will be over.
Oh, okay.
So we can hang out if you want to still hang out for a few minutes. That's okay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm still getting, because are you able to see the chat window?
No, remember I was getting that 404 error when I tried to open the.
If you go to the YouTube page itself and you look to the right of the video, you can pop out the there are plenty of questions on the Edu website. Okay, let's see. Let me go to the actual website and see here. Is there a link that I missed here for a specific question asking?
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. I would hate to think that we asked for questions and then didn't answer any of the ones that were asked in the right place. Oh, I see. There's a specific window here. So, what is the program you use to have that .gs extension name? That's the script editor itself. Oh, some of these have been answered already. Can we ask for the whole code of the grade sheet you have made, or just a link for it? Perfect. It looks like some people are answering the questions for me. That's great. When would you use modal for forms instead of just using forms as normal? So my idea for that, maybe I should just stop the broadcast and just answer these. I'm going to send you this link, Dan.
All right, yeah, send me the link.
And yeah, let's go ahead and stop the broadcast and you can answer the questions like with text later. So, anyways, cheers, man. Thanks a lot for waking up early to do this with me.
Yeah, it's nice and early, but that's okay. No worries.
Yeah, man. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the broadcast. We'll try to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, let's help some people out for sure.